How are you getting on, folks? Look, I suppose, sorry it's a little bit later than I suppose usual, but I'm only literally home in the last 10-15 minutes. I've been out on the road all day, so I'm only literally getting a chance to look at the card for tomorrow now, and I suppose get these up while the prices are still there to be got. Look at Punchestown was a fairly decent day. With the first two winners 5-2, 2-1 next best, and finally then a winning nap then at 6-4 Delganish. Very very impressive altogether. I think with the combined three, I think it turned out to be something like 32 lengths of winners between the three of them. So that was fairly convincing altogether. And overall, with level stakes, it was profit made. So that's definitely got an exciting sort of a look about it. Thurles tomorrow, there's definitely no value there. I've tried to make as best as I can, but an awful lot of these Willie Mullins' sort. I think Willie Mullins is going to have a right good day tomorrow, but there's no real value in my personal opinion. It's just, I suppose, a day where you're just going to have to grin and bear it and just sit back and enjoy good racing. I wouldn't necessarily be going head over heels. I certainly haven't anyway, and I definitely would suggest none of ye do the same. Especially with my track record around Thurles, I'll put my hands up and say Thurles is possibly my worst strike rate next to Dundalk. So that's definitely saying something. But look, sure, we'll give it a crack anyway, and sure we'll see how we get on. First race off the 12:25, we are going to go with Willie Mullins' first charge of the day. Franco de Port, 4-6. No value there whatsoever. Willie Mullins won this last year. He's going to win it again this year. Franco de Port was a very good second in Grade 3 Hurdle Company last year. Overall, generally runs well fresh. Should be well capable of taking the chase and fences. Very, very big burly sword. So I would be definitely expecting a nice, I suppose, first time performance in Chasing Company. And it's not necessarily the strongest of race. Definitely the class act of the field, in my personal opinion. 4-6 is, although it is short, it is fairly decent value. I'd be expecting to see 1 to 2 of a price tag for him tomorrow. And I suppose, look at it, even if he does drift out, it seems like it's more money for us at the end of the day. It looks a certain winner. I can't see anything that's going to beat it, to be perfectly honest. It should well be capable of running up to 5-10 length winner. Easy money, I think. Next race then, the 12:55. First each way shout of the day here. There's 2 each way shouts. But American Image for Aileen O'Sullivan, Michael Miller, and I don't even know who owns it, but it's currently priced around 7-1 for an each way shout. It's first reserve, so we are taking a little bit of a chance, but it is very, very interesting should it get in. I definitely think it will. A very, very impressive winner last time out in Clonmel, gave Aileen her first winner on the track. Definitely gets a great tuna of American Image. Michael Miller seems to be definitely going in the best form he's ever been. I think he's only really training in the last couple of months, but he's definitely hit the ground running and definitely, I suppose, struck while the iron is hot. And this American Image definitely looks to be a very, very nice chaser in his hands. He's gone up £4, but Aileen takes 7 off, so technically I suppose the horse is still £3 well in, but look at when you put it all together, like, she did take £7 off the first day, so it's hard to really know. But I definitely think it's got the capabilities of improving the £4. It looked like Aileen was in trouble when, I suppose, turning in Jack Kennedy was looming up large with the Abbey. But the horse just kept finding for her, and that's exactly what you want to see in a particular improver. The more, I suppose, the horse responds, the better it seems to get. And I suppose with every run, you will see more improvement out of it. And I definitely think should American Image get in, it's going to be very, very tough to pass. I want to wish Aileen the very best of luck. I know she follows the page and she follows the Irish Racing Hour. Hopefully, soon enough we'll be able to speak to her soon, or speak to her about the belated success she's had so far. Now moving on then to the 125. Look at another Willie Mullins short price favourite here, and I think it's definitely the most likely winner. Gijumi or Jumi, whatever you want to pronounce it. I can't. I'm not going to even try. It's currently priced around 8 to 11. Look at it's definitely an interesting sort here. It was, I think, fourth in a grade group 3 hurdle or grade 3 hurdle on his last run. It's definitely, it's definitely an interesting sort. It should well be capable of running to some level of high standard here tomorrow. It's definitely one of the more interesting sorts, and overall I can't really see anything that's going to come out of the pack to beat it. I'd be surprised to see this horse even being close to Lady Love on tomorrow. It should well be able to, I suppose, run out a 5 or a 10 length winner, in my personal opinion. 8 to 11 looks, it looks about right, to be quite honest. It's definitely the most likely, and I don't think the bookies are taking too much of a chance. It should well be capable of running up to some level of decent standard tomorrow, and I would imagine it's going to be very, very hard to beat. Now the next race off, the 155, we are going to go with Goulots at 8 to 11, another Willie Mullins favourite here. A very, very interesting winner in France on his debut. Bought up by Kenneth Alexander and put into training with Willie Mullins. It's very, very interesting sort. I would imagine so that this particular horse is going to be very, very hard to beat as well. It's well related. It should well be capable of beating I suppose, an average enough field, with all due respect, compared to this particular favourite, in some comfortable fashion. I definitely think, look at Willie Mullins is in serious form. Whether he's going to get 3 winners tomorrow, I don't know. I definitely think he has a great, great chance. I would be tempted enough to, I suppose, not necessarily bet singly on the 3 favourites that I've tipped up, but shorten the stake and go for a treble. Why not? He's had doubles and trebles and four folds and the whole lot coming in over the last week or so. So stranger things have happened, and I definitely think he's not going to get much more of an easier time of it. I don't even know what price the treble will pay out, but they're not necessarily massively short either. Could well turn out to be a bit of a profitable, I suppose, market, considering they are all odds on. But look at it, it's interesting. I definitely think it's definitely a very comfortable bet, and look at it saves lumping in big on the short price favourites. Now the last 3 races, they are, I suppose, the best value here. So if you're sticking around, thanks very much, and hopefully your patience will be rewarded. The 225, we are going to go with, or not Willie Mullins, Henry de Bromhead, with the Call Dawn at 3 to 1. This one definitely looks to be a little bit interesting. Not really more so than most, but I think it's definitely the best value of the 3 at the top of the market, in my personal opinion. An average enough performance on debut in a bumper. I think it was 6th that particular day, but with Henry's runners, they normally tend to be better over a jump or better over a hurdle. So it's definitely interesting to see it going over hurdles now this time. I definitely think possibly it was just a little bit immature, say, first time out, that the fact that he did go with a bumper, just, I suppose, to mature him up a little bit and, I suppose, settle his senses. No point going down to a hurdle and trying to kill himself and the jockey at the end of the day. But look, at if it takes to, I suppose, hurdles, it's a nice price. Willie Mullins is a reserve in here, but it's backed into favouritism. If that gets in, it's not going to be beaten, in my personal opinion. But I think it's second or third reserve. I don't think it's first reserve. I could be wrong though, but if it's second or third reserve, it might just be, I suppose, Cod Rotten, and it just could be, I suppose, taken out and put a bit of spanner in the works. And if that's the case, then the Cahaldan will shorten up and should go off in around 6-4, in my personal opinion. So when you look at it that way, 3-1 definitely is value there. I don't know. I don't like the second favourite. I don't really like the favourite either. The fact that I haven't seen him yet, but it's definitely interesting. It's with all due respect, it's a race where I'd sort of be more happier just sitting back and relaxing. But I like to try and find the best value for those of you who will be having a bet, and I definitely think the Cahaldan is the best value there in the top three, in my personal opinion. Now, the next race then, the 255, the nap of the day, the only course and distance winner, and surely to God, this is going to be a very, very profitable day and will turn serious profit for all the Peaky Blogger fans. Molly Kay for Shane Duffy and Rachel Blackmore definitely look to be the one to be on. It was a very, very impressive last time out in Thurles. Just, I suppose, battled back to get its head in front, but it since ran on the flat in the Curragh, if I'm not mistaken, the Curragh or Naas. No, it wasn't Naas. It was, I don't know, it was the Curragh either. It was somewhere anyway. I don't know where it was. I wouldn't necessarily be the biggest fan of the flat, but it's had a run on the flat since. I looked it up. I can't necessarily remember where it was, but I think it was second that particular day. So look at it. It's clearly in the form of his life and is clearly fit and ready to go. I definitely think Rachel Blackmore, the fact that Shane Duffy doesn't necessarily get many winners to be, I suppose, to be, without being harsh on him, like he's just, I suppose, he's been unlucky coming up against the likes of the Willie Mullinses and Gordon Elliott's and Henry de Bromheads and Joseph O'Brien's in the past, where it's just nearly impossible to find winners. But I definitely think he's got a nice chance here now tomorrow. Molly Kay definitely looks to be one of his, I suppose, stable stars. I would imagine that she would be very, very hard to beat, especially with the top lady rider on board, Rachel Blackmore. I can't see anything to beat this particular horse. And overall, 7-4, 4-1, wherever you're shopping, it's mighty value. I definitely think for the only course and distance winner in the field, it paid for us last time out. It surely will pay for us again. And I suppose with that being the fact, I definitely think it's nap-worthy contendership. Now, I could be, I suppose, proven wrong like I nearly always am in Thurles, but I would be confident enough at 7-2, it being one of the best value bets of the day. And surely to God, you'll be getting best, I suppose. Well, look, you mightn't get the best run for your money, but you'll definitely be thereabouts in the finish. I definitely think so. It's a course. It's horses for courses, and this horse loves Thurles. Simple as that. Next race then, the 325, last race of the day, and the next best. But it's the next best each way. A girl like me definitely looks to be an interesting sort. 50-1 winner in Galway last time out in similar ground conditions. Now in behind it that day, you had the likes of Not So Simple, who has won in Killarney already this year for Norman Lee. You had Sizen Malbay, Stephen Mahon's possible stable star, in my personal opinion. Between herself and Stormy, they're definitely the best horses in that particular yard, in my personal opinion, without being, I suppose, disrespectful to anyone else. I'm trying to think who else was in behind it that day. Oh, there's been another winner in the past as well. I can't think who it is though, but there's been another winner since then. I can't just, it's just gone from the top of my head. But the form necessarily has been backed up. it was a very cosy winner last time as well. In grounded will be similar enough to what's going to be meeting tomorrow. Overall, the £9 that has been risen, I definitely think is well capable of reaching it and exceeding it in terms of improvement and potential. The trainer doesn't necessarily get too many winners. If I'm not mistaken, I think the name of the trainer is Adrian Lee. I could be totally wrong there now, but I'm nearly certain it is. Now, Kevin Sexton takes the ride. Kevin is a brilliant jockey. I definitely think that he will be well capable of running a fairly decent race, especially with Kevin Sexton being one of, I suppose, Thurles' most successful jockeys. He definitely likes to get his winners around here. I think at an overall success rate, now I could be totally wrong on this, but I remember last year he was going off something like 40% strike rate for every race he ran in Thurles. I could be totally wrong with that, but I know, as I suppose a jockey around Thurles, he is one of the ones to go to when you're backing horses. That's all I know. That's all I look at in these sorts of conditions. I think 7-1 at an each way shout is definitely the next best bet of the day. Now, I'm going to leave it there. Look, if you're going to be getting on board, don't go overboard. That's basically what I'm trying to say. My strike rate around Thurles doesn't necessarily back up, I suppose, the form that I've been in. It's definitely a tricky old course to try and find winners at. I'm crying out for another day in Cork. That's one thing for sure. But hopefully, we'll be able to get, if I could get 2 or 3 winners, or even the treble up for William Mullins, surely that's going to come in. I can't see anything that's going to beat any of them 3 horses. If we could get the nap in, that's going to be a big help. And if we could get the 2 each way shouts in as well, we'd be fairly happy. I think that's actually all the races. That's all the races we've named. But Jesus, if we could get, if I could get the nap and the next best overall, that will do me tomorrow. That will make me very happy. But I'm going to leave it there. Make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. There's been, I think, 28 subscribers in the past week, so that has been massive for me. Keep telling family, friends, people you know that I suppose that like an old betting the races, or if you're just, I suppose, interested in what my train of thoughts are for Irish racing, let people know, and let people know what I do and where I'm going with it. We're going to be starting up I suppose not necessarily a documentary, but a bit of a podcast really. That's the best way I can describe it, called the Irish Racing Hour. It's going to be myself, Ryan Sharkey, and Dean Hegarty from the Racing Records. We're, I suppose, collaborating to become the Irish Racing Corner. There's going to be, I suppose, different aspects to that. We're going to I'll explain things more when things are finalised and everything else is sorted out like that. But make sure to head over to the Irish Racing Corner. Give that page a like on Facebook and Twitter. What else is there? Keep liking, sharing, subscribing. Let people know what I do and everything else like that. And if you're going to be having a bet tomorrow, the very best of luck. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much. And if you're going to be having a bet, the very best of luck.